Hello, BCPS students and families. We are excited to share with you a read aloud. As you listen to this text, we will stop at times and ask you to think about what is happening. After you finish listening to the story, first we will share some questions with you for you to think and talk about. Then, you will see a writing prompt. You can use this writing prompt to respond to the text. You can share your written responses with your teacher. Finally, you will see some project ideas for enrichment and ways to have fun interacting with books. I hope you enjoy listening to Last Stop on Market Street, written by Matt De La Pena and pictures by Christian Robinson. I'd like to take a moment and give a big thank you to Scholastic for allowing us to share this great story with you. I hope you enjoy Last Stop on Marketplace.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be with you today to share one of my favorite stories with the permission from Scholastic, Last Stop on Market Street. The author is Matt De La Pena and the illustrator is Christian Robinson. This is a fiction story. When I'm thinking about a fiction story, I know that there's likely going to be some characters and there might be a problem that the character is going to face. Today, I want to really focus on characters and thinking about point of view. What is the character's point of view? You're probably asking yourself, what is point of view anyway? Point of view is the character's opinion or attitude about an event or something that's happening in the story. So today, we're really going to be thinking about that. The characters in this story are CJ and Nana. CJ and Nana are going to be going on a trip, one that they go on every Sunday, to the last stop on Market Street. And CJ's not really excited about this trip. He's actually a little unhappy about it. And Nana insists that he still go. I'm sure that your parents have made you do things that you really didn't want to do. How did it make you feel? I know for myself, I sometimes am upset if my parents were to make me do something that I didn't want to do. And so that can really help me to understand how CJ might be feeling and maybe what his point of view is for this trip to the last stop on Market Street. When I'm looking at the cover, I see CJ and his Nana waiting for the bus. And we're going to find out where they might be going. Last stop on Market Street. CJ pushed through the church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How come we gotta wait for the bus in all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," his Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw?" CJ looked for a long time but never saw a straw. From the bus stop, he watched water pool on flower petals, watched rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car. His friend Colby climbed in, gave CJ a wave, and drove off with his dad. "Nana, how come we don't get a car?" "Boy, what do we need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire, and old Mr. Dennis who always has a trick for you." The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged and the doors swung open. "What's that I see?" Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear, placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat right up front. The man across the way was tuning a guitar. An old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon. She made sure CJ did the same. The bus lurched forward and stopped, lurched forward and stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. How come we always gotta go here after church? CJ said. Miguel and Colby never have to go nowhere. I'm gonna pause here for a minute and think about what's been happening in the story. So it seems like CJ and Nana go on this trip on the bus every Sunday after church. But I noticed that CJ says, how come we have to go here after church? His friends, I would assume, are named Miguel and Colby, and they don't have to go anywhere. That makes me think or infer that CJ isn't really happy about going to the last stop on Market Street, wherever that may be. I'm going to keep reading to see if any of that changes or if that stays the same for him. I feel sorry for those boys, she told him. They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo or the Sunglass Man. And I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat. CJ stared out the window, feeling sorry for himself. He watched as cars zip by on either side, watched a group of boys hop curbs on his bike. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. How come that man can't see? Boy, what do you know about seeing? Nana told him. Some people watch the world with their ears. That's a fact. Their noses, too, the man said, sniffing at the air. That's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am. Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved on by and stood him back. Sure wish I had one of those, he said. Nana set down her knitting. What for? You got the real live thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask that man if he'll play a song? CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. To feel the magic of music, the blind man whispered, I like to close my eyes. Nana closed hers too. So did CJ and the spotted dog, sorry. So I'm going to pause here again, and really I'm thinking that initially CJ really didn't find this trip to be very amusing. He says back on this page that he's feeling sorry for himself. So I'm thinking that he is really not liking this trip at all. And so his point of view from his words and his actions, he's kind of sitting back in his seat, I would say that he doesn't think that this trip is very important or interesting. But I'm wondering if things might be changing for CJ, because I notice here that he's listening to the man play the guitar, and he's got a smile on his face as he's listening to the music. So I'm going to keep reading to see if anything else happens with CJ to impact him. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full and he was lost in the sound, and the sound gave him the feeling of magic. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks and broken down doors, graffiti tagged windows and boarded up stores. He reached for his Nana's hand. How come it's always so dirty over here? She smiled and pointed to the sky. Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness for what's beautiful. When he spotted their familiar faces in the window, he said, I'm glad we came. I'm thinking CJ really is feeling a little bit differently than he did at the beginning of the story. He says, "I'm glad we came." And that makes me think that maybe he's has a different point of view now that he's feeling proud by seeing some of the people that he sees. We're going to find out where exactly he's going. He thought his Nana might laugh, her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and told him, "Me too, CJ. Now come on." So they are in the soup kitchen, and it looks like CJ and his Nana are actually helping out at the soup kitchen. The end. So I want to go back to this page because I noticed that they're helping out at the soup kitchen. The entire time, CJ was kind of feeling sorry for himself and kept saying things to his Nana about not really wanting to go. And it made me really think that his point of view at the beginning of the story of Last Stop on Market Street was that visiting the soup kitchen wasn't really important. But clearly his Nana thought that it was. And toward the end of the story, his feelings really do change. And I think he might be feeling proud about that. When you're thinking about point of view, when you're reading a story, I want you to really think about the characters' feelings, their actions, maybe some of those inferences like I made throughout this story. And that can really help you to think about what is the character's opinion about a certain event. I also, after we're done reading, want you to make a list. What are some things that you could maybe do to help around the house for your parents right now while we're home? Maybe you can be really helpful and feel proud too. I hope you enjoyed the story for The Last Stop on Market Street.
Now that you have listened to The Last Stop on Market Street, think about and talk about these questions to help you understand how CJ's point of view changed throughout the story. In the beginning of the story, what does CJ say and do to let his Nana know that he is not happy about going to the last stop on Market Street? In the middle of the story, CJ begins to change his feelings about his weekly trip with Nana. What happened on the bus that began to change his point of view about going to the last stop? At the end of the story, CJ and Nana finally made it to their destination. What does he say and do to let the reader know his feelings about going to the last stop on Market Street have changed? Now, let's get ready to write about the last stop on Market Street. CJ and Nana went to the last stop on Market Street every Sunday. Can you think of something you do regularly with your family? Write a paragraph describing what you do and how you feel about participating. When you're finished with your writing, add an illustration to enhance your writing. Now let's have some fun. Here you will find a list of activities that you can complete to help enrich your experience after reading Last Stop on Market Street. You can reuse a box to create a 3D bus, like the one CJ and his Nana rode on in the story. You could use paper to build or draw a town similar to CJ and Nana's. Maybe you might want to reuse materials like rubber bands and a tissue box to create a guitar like the one CJ listened to on the bus. Finally, Christian Robinson, illustrator of The Last Stop on Market Street, used collage and paintings to create his artwork. People who make collages use materials such as paper, cloth, or wood to make art. Create a collage about the text or topic of your choice. I hope you enjoyed reading and listening to The Last Stop on Market Street.